Dr. Elizabeth Hoefer wants you to get your head on straight. In a world gone sideways, having balance and integrity in all areas of life leads to having confidence that breeds clarity. Clarity is essential to living an authentic life, and all the information shared on the Get Your Head On Straight podcast is designed to inspire you to live your life fulfilled. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Get Your Head On Straight with Dr. Elizabeth Hoefer. I'm really excited about my guest, Michelle, today. She's an amazing mom, wife, and her family has gotten some pretty incredible results here at Well Connected Chiropractic. So I wanted to invite her on the podcast to share her story about her Blair chiropractic journey. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So my first question for you, darling, is how did we get well connected?
Okay, well, I came out and saw you in last January. I was referred to you by another doctor who moved away. And I was a little hesitant because you were kind of far. And I was like, well, is it really worth it? And she convinced me that it was. And so I came out and I was just absolutely amazed by my first treatment. I didn't quite know what to expect. I didn't realize that it was so gentle that I really didn't notice the actual adjustment so much as the after effect.
So with Dr. Mindy was who referred you down. And what's so great about that is that we actually shared a lot of patients in common. She did the activator technique and she would notice there were some people that weren't really responding as well as she wanted just from that. So we would co-treat. Well, when it came time for her to make that decision to move across the country to North Carolina, she sent a letter out. And, as a good doctor, when you're, leaving your practice, you have to give like 3 options. And she provided a regular full spine doc. She provided another activator doc, and then she gave everybody my name. And you are one of the families that decided to come down and try the Blair upper cervical care. So you got your first correction, and in short order, all of your family became patients. And yes. I love that even your skeptical husband is he's like one of my biggest fans now. And it isn't even about me. It's about the work and the results that he's getting because he is really active with his bike and all the things that he does. And actually it's so cool because he's such a brilliant business mind. Whenever he comes, I make him a red, which means I need to spend more time with them. And then I pick his brain and he's so helpful. He helped me create all these ideas for how to market and get our practice out there so people know. So your family's been a huge blessing. When did you have your first correction? It was January of 2020, right?
Yes. So when Dr. Mindy left, she had told me 2 years prior about you and I didn't come because I was skeptical. And I'm like, well, you can take care of me, so I don't need to drive down there. And I didn't quite understand what it was that she was trying to explain.
Right.
I didn't realize that different chiropractors do different things and only allowed to do different adjustments in that you do cervical 1 and 2. And that's where my problem was. Uh-huh. And so even though I've been going to a chiropractor since I was probably 11 years old, I still suffered the same problems for so many years, like 30 years, because I didn't understand that there was a problem. And I would go to the chiropractor, it would be okay. And then it would be undone again.
Right.
And then I'd have to go back. So then I ended up with the cervical fusion 3 years ago in January, 3 years ago, and sought out Dr. Mindy because I couldn't go have my neck manipulated anymore. And so she used the activator. And so that's what prompted me to start seeing her. And then she had to leave. And then I sought you because I knew she went to you. And so I knew that was the safer place to go and that she had recommended you for a couple of years. And so I didn't quite understand that adjustment that I needed was kind of like a zipper, that I was off kilter in the zipper. And so once I got that fixed on top, it just all kind of fell into place. And I haven't had to have my neck adjusted for over a year now.
Yeah.
Where I was always having to get it readjusted all the time.
Yeah. And it's been a cool journey to watch your health get restored. That's what is so powerful about the Blair adjustment. You get it done once, and if you hold it, you heal. And I don't remember how soon, but pretty quickly you started bringing your whole family down.
Yeah, I brought my son, my 16-year-old now, 15-year-old at the time, because he ran cross country and he had an injury in his SI joint, and that was the sciatic. But they kept treating it and helping it, and physical therapy for like 6 months, and nothing was improving or working. And after I saw you, I was like, I know where you need to go. And so after his first adjustment, even though it was his sciatic, the pain was gone that night. And then he was back to running again with like 2 or 3 days later without any pain. And then I ended up bringing my daughter, who has sensory processing. And so carries a lot of emotion in her body and her thoughts. And so that tends to physically affect her.
It does. And Charlotte, I think out of everyone, has had the most upper cervical corrections, but because she holds so much of that like anxiety inside of her body, it can throw her out of alignment. And the interesting thing about her is the telltale sign that we know when she's out, she gets these chapped lips, and it's like a ring around her lips. And as soon as we make the upper cervical correction, it's gone.
Starts to heal immediately. Like within 2 or 3 days, everything is gone. Like,
yeah. When we start seeing that happen, I'm like, okay, we need to get her checked. Sure enough, she's out of alignment, and then we get her adjusted, and then she is back to being better. And so there are some people whose constitution can hold adjustments forever. Like you've had one and you were almost on the verge of going out the other day, but we were able to kind of like support you back to a place of balance. And I don't think you're going to go out of alignment. And then there's other bodies that have a bucket that can't tolerate as much. And there are people that need to get adjustments more often than others. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of being able to identify it, write it down and understand that that's that pattern for that person. And that's one of the things I love about the Blair work is that we can tailor every single correction, every single visit, and identify the pattern for that particular person that's different from anybody else on the planet.
Right. Like with Charlotte too, she, even being 8 years old when she first saw you, and now she's 9, but when she has those adjustments after her lips are all chapped and you need to bring her in, she immediately says, I just feel so much better on the inside. Like, I think the anxiety and the jitteriness inside just kind of calms down. And so for a little, an elementary school student child, be able to verbalize that is a pretty big deal and says a lot, I think.
I totally agree. It's like when dogs or kids like you're doing something right? Because their little spirits will tell you, whether they have the vocabulary or not, their spirit will tell you if you're a good person. So if she can articulate the fact that she feels better on the inside of her body, that's a huge win. And so awesome that at 8 years old, we were able to unlock that for her.
Right.
So that leads me to kind of my next question, because you had mentioned earlier that you were kind of like skeptical and you were like, I'm here, you're here. Why can't you just fix me? And 2 years and her moving away to a different state to make the drive. And I totally appreciate the fact that you definitely drive 36 miles one way to see me. I think your van's on autopilot to get to me now, though.
I think so.
If I don't see you in the week, I'm like, where are the Becks? I miss them. Anyways, what would you tell somebody who's skeptical? Because that's something that I face all the time, but I obviously want everybody to be under Blair care. And it's different coming from a person who's actually experienced it, had that same thought process, and now is on the other side of that.
I think I run into those conversations as well. I think a lot of people are skeptical because they've had bad experiences or they didn't trust the doctor. So I think that there's that building trust and knowing by my experience or by my whole family's experience that we all are attending and they see and know the differences and they see that. But additionally, like people are more skeptical, I think, because they end up having to go back and having to get it done again and again, and it never solves the problem. Whereas the Blair method technique actually addresses the problem and in our case has fixed the problem in our family. And so I think it's knowing that it's not this thing that you're going to have to continue like every week or every month or, and maybe in some cases it will be like that in the beginning and then taper off. But it's not like this. So I kind of explain it that way, and that the way the healing that we've each experienced in our family and even my mom's experience as well. So
yeah. And each of you have a completely different manifestation of what the subluxation in your neck showed up as. And it's neat to be able to meet everybody where it's at and help move it along in the journey that it's supposed to be on. And at the end of the day, all of you are literally living well connected.
Right. And I think it's just the understanding too, that I think we miss that with chiropractors in general. Like they're only qualified to do so much. Like there's, as my understanding, like they, and so where you come in with the Blair technique is that you're actually addressing the issue up in the cervical.
You're right. So traditionally, the training that we get doesn't include this Blair upper cervical training. There are some campuses in the country that offer it as an elective. I was blessed enough to be able to experience Blair care as a student because it was offered on my campus. I immediately enrolled in the elective, and then I took that to the next level, became an instructor. So now I can teach seminars and I train doctors and students, which is why I have interns in my office and, training the next generation of chiropractic, because it isn't something that's included in the curriculum. It's definitely above and beyond the training, and it takes a lot of dedication and effort. So there's about 150 Blair doctors in the whole world. And so maybe before I retire, there'll be 300. Maybe we could double the odds with all the people that I want to train. So it's neat to be a part of that. And it's neat to have the families be willing to, accept the training on the job, because you guys have to subject yourself to that too, Like, yeah, you get to come see Dr. Hoefer, but who knows, maybe one of my interns will do your leg check or feel through the spine. And to allow that to happen is a special thing too.
Yeah, we actually enjoy seeing the different interns that come in.
Yeah.
And it shows the kids too. I think that, there's other people learning, and I don't know, it's kind of encouraging to them, I think, and inspiring.
Yeah. And out of 4 kids, maybe one of them will become a chiropractor.
I sure hope so. That would be wonderful.
Wouldn't it?
It would be great.
Yes. I will train them, and then you will have the family chiropractor that's related to you.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
it's not an issue to drive the drive. It's worth it. And my 16-year-old's always like, when are we going to see Dr. Hoefer again? I need to get in because I, told this today when I was running.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and you guys have taken the whole Well Connected philosophy and just like really embraced it. You guys get massages, you do the nutritional support, you use the PEMF table. And I think because you employ all of the different modalities that we have to offer, it's a testament to the fact that you do hold your upper cervical corrections and do well. So what does it mean to you, Michelle, to live your life in alignment?
To live my life in alignment is everything to me. Being a busy mom, driving 4 kids around all day and not being in pain is priceless, because I would take Motrin like it was candy. And now I haven't taken that in a very long time. And it's just being able to enjoy my life more physically and not be so worn down by the pain. So it's priceless. And I do tell anyone I know about it when they ask. And I think I've referred several people. You
have. Yeah, I definitely take care of several of your friends and extended family. And I know that you are a really awesome advocate for the Blair work in the Southern California area. And you even text me and ask about people in different states because of friends and family that live elsewhere. You're like, is there anybody in North Carolina? Is there anybody in Idaho? So yeah, and that's the thing. We are thankfully having, building the network with Blair docs in different places. So it's a joy to be able to make that referral and say, yes, I know that person and they are a good Blair doctor and your family will love them. And it's just so cool. So
I just wish I would have known years ago.
I know.
And many years ago. Right.
Well, you know what? Everything happens in time and God has a plan and purpose for it all. So we were supposed to meet.
Yeah. I think it's important for people to understand that for as long as it took you to get into that pain and into that chronic pain and that place, it takes time to come out of that too. Mm-hmm. I think we expect it to be a quick fix and move on, but I think there is time to heal and we need to give ourselves that time and allow that to occur.
Right. That's a constant conversation, really that retracing process. And when you hold your correction, the layers that peel away, pain, emotional dysfunction, all the things, that definitely is part of the process. And when I sit down with new patients, I tell them this is a journey and the health is the ultimate goal. But every time you come in and you're holding your adjustment, you're expressing health in a better way. So I love that you brought that up because it isn't a quick fix necessarily. Do you get relief pretty immediately? Sure. But stability and integrity are key to the work that I do. And it's important to understand that, just because you're feeling great doesn't mean you don't need to come. It means you need to come and get checked to make sure you keep feeling great.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I'm so thankful for you sharing your journey. It sounds like a lot of things have gotten better for your family. And I know people listening are going to be excited to know that it's safe, effective, healthy for grandparents, parents, kids, all different manner of conditions. I think you were talking about sciatica and migraines and sensory processing and, hip pain, all those things, sports injuries. So it's a pleasure to be able to be that for you guys. And thank you so much again for sharing your story here on our podcast.
Well, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to Get Your Head On Straight with Dr. Elizabeth Hoefer. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I would love to talk to you. You can reach out to me at wellconnectedchiro.com. And of course, if you have any questions about the Blair upper cervical technique, I would love to be your chiropractor. So look me up on all platforms, social media, and you can always get a hold of me on my website. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to Get Your Head On Straight with Dr. Elizabeth Hoefer. Visit wellconnectedchiro.com for more details from the show blog post and to learn what Blair Upper Cervical Chiropractic can do for you. To learn more about Dr. Hoefer and her practice, you can find her at Well Connected Chiropractic in Mission Viejo, California by visiting wellconnectedchiro.com for more information.